decided that I would make a homeschooling tips video for all the parents out there that have started on this unexpected journey of homeschooling. I know that it might seem very scary and daunting to a lot of you, but hopefully these tips will help you feel more prepared. So a little about me: I graduated with a degree in elementary education, and I'm certified to teach pre-K through 6th grade, and I have 3 semesters of classroom experience. I have just written down some tips that I have personally learned as a teacher. So first things first, I have some notes here. So I went ahead and I wrote 10 tips. I have written them down here, and I'll kind of go into detail of each of them. Okay, so the number 1 tip, and these aren't really in order of importance, but this one does fall under the most important category, and it is patience. And you probably already know that one, but I'll kind of go into detail about what helped me with that. If you are helping your child with a problem or spelling a word or anything like that, maybe a project, don't ever do something for the student. For example, if they're having a hard time with 4 times 3, don't ever say that the answer is 12, but talk about 2 times 3 or 3 times 6, and have lots of patience as they're trying to figure it out. Just try to remember what it was like back when you're first learning multiplication or whatever they're learning at that time. So the first one is definitely the most important, and easier said than done. The second tip is to explain something in many different ways. Every single kid thinks about things differently. Every single person has the best way to learn for them. Some people are visual learners, auditory learners. If one way is not helping your kid, try a different way. Go down the list. You can just do a Google search of the different types of ways that people learn and go down the list and see what works best for your child. Most kids, I have found, learn the absolute best when they can use manipulatives, which are actual tactile things. So things that they can touch and move around, like blocks. Anything that the kid can manipulate and move around and build. The second tip I have for you is to use a reward system. Reward systems can sometimes be a controversial thing. Some teachers don't really necessarily like using a reward system because they don't think that helps a student actually soak in the knowledge, but I have seen that it helps students a lot in my experience. A reward system, though, is not gonna be like, I'll give you a piece of candy for every problem that you do. It's gonna be more like, have a treasure box, something like a container that you keep prizes in, and use a different token to add up points, and then for every certain points they can visit the treasure box. So for example, the points, you can use pom-poms, anything that you have a lot of and something small. For me, I would like to say that if you have 10 of those, you will get to visit the treasure box. In the treasure box, you should keep things like stickers, fun pencils, fun erasers. Try to stay away from candy as much as you can. I know it's hard, and I have met several teachers that do candy in the classroom. It just tends to get them hyped up and doesn't help with their distractibility. So whatever you choose to do with your treasure box is fine. Maybe they had 10 minutes of undistracted work. You give them a pom-pom for that. Maybe they got every single question right on a quiz or a test. Maybe they were just being extra respectful and didn't get distracted and listened really well. Or if they're doing online, maybe they were just listening to the video or the Zoom call with their teacher very well. You can reward them with a pom-pom, and then you can even be more creative with it. You can say, if you get to 20 pom-poms, we can get McDonald's for dinner. Or if you get to 50 pom-poms, we can have a slip and slide day out in our backyard. Something fun like that, that they can actually choose to store their pom-poms in their jar or wherever you want to keep them, And that'll actually teach them about like saving money too, so it could be 2 lessons in one. My third tip is up and moving is best. Since you have an elementary aged child, you know that they are very active and they are always wanting to be up and moving, and that is just the truth. Every single child in this entire world is high energy and they like to be running around. So if you can ever get them to focus better while they're able to move around, then that's gonna be the best way they can learn. It might seem like you don't have a lot of flexibility if there's online classes that they're doing. The teacher's gonna have specific lessons. Say for example, they have to write a paragraph on a passage that they read in the book. If you want, you can be creative with it and say, okay, I want you to take this book and I want you to read it out loud for our family, and I want you to read it in a very enthusiastic and dramatic way, and that'll get them on their feet first of all and able to like act out what they're reading. And I've just learned that kids learn so well when they're actually able to make fun of something and do something, so that's a really good tip for you. Something that goes along with up and moving is that they should take a break every 30 minutes. Now, I don't know exactly the way that online classes are going to be set up and if it's something that the child has to do in one session and be done with it, or if it's something they can complete over the course of a day. If you do have some wiggle room with it, I would try to give them a break every 30 minutes. I recommend aiming for 30 minutes, but it's up to you what you want to do with that. And then breaks can be anywhere from 2 minutes to 10 minutes, whatever you want to decide and whatever you can do with the online class that they're taking. So my next tip is something that was a big thing I learned while I was in college to be a teacher, and it's called project-based learning. And this is another something that might not be doable if your child's online class is very rigid, but if you do have some room to change it up a bit, I would definitely recommend trying to make projects out of what they're learning to help them learn it better. So maybe it's studying for a test, or maybe thinking of a project for them to do, and maybe they have options of what they want to do. They can do a presentation, or they can do a book report, or just an essay. Try to lean towards more the project-based things rather than just writing or reading. It should be something that has them really involved and thinking out of the box. Children do learn really well if it's through an interactive project. You want them discovering things, and while they're discovering things in their project, they're going to be learning so much because they're able to see it and feel it and hear it and smell it, all the senses. That's going to help them soak in so much. There are tons of fun projects to find online on Pinterest or Google or Teacher Pay Teacher. It's super easy to find them. I definitely recommend them for your child to be learning the best way that they can. Another tip is to never spell things out for your child, and I made this its own tip because it was something that was really hard for me to grasp at first, because it's so easy to just spell something for them, because writing words and reading is such a complex subject, and I know as a parent you feel like I'm not going to be able to understand why CK needs to be together to make the sound K. So it is easy sometimes to just spell things out for them, but try to not do this as much as you can. My tip for that is just to sound things out as slow as you can, and that's all you should do with them. If they say that they need help spelling the word truck, you're just going to try to say the word truck as slowly as you can. Because, for example, if the child's going to be writing truck, they might spell it C-H-R-U-C-K or U-K. That is understandable why they would write it that way, because truck sounds like ch-ch-ch at the beginning. So it's hard to explain to them that no, truck is actually TR. But if you say it very slowly and expand it out, if you say truck, It will help them differentiate that there's a T and an R at the beginning and not a ch. So just try to take it very slow and don't put too much pressure on yourself to get them to understand why words are made up the way that they are. They're just going to learn that as they get older and as they get through the grades. Leave that to the teachers. They will help them understand that. So tip number 7 is to always set expectations before you start the lesson or before they start their online class. Their teacher might do this, but it would be good for you as the parent to do it as well. Say that they're about to start an online session. You should sit them down and you say, okay, Susie, or whatever the name is, we are gonna start on math now. During this time, you're gonna stay in your seat. You are not going to have a screen with you other than the computer, so no iPad, phone, iPod, anything like that, not even TV in the background. You're not going to talk to your siblings unless absolutely necessary, and be sure to warn their siblings beforehand too. You should also say no talking when I am talking or when your online teacher is talking, if it's a Zoom call or a Skype call or whatever they do. No talking when they're talking. No talking when your classmates are talking. Expectations like that. If you set them and you're clear with them each time, they know that there's no wiggle room with that. That's exactly what you expect out of them. Kids really need that. They need to know exactly what is okay and what's not okay during this school time. Something that would be helpful is to maybe write out on a poster exactly what your expectations are and hang it or put it next to them when they're doing school. Tip number 8 is affirmations. Affirmations are so much more important than calling them out for their shortcomings. It is so much more important to praise them rather than to point out what they're doing wrong. This is called energizing the positive. You do not want to energize the negative. You don't want to just call them out for anything bad that they're doing, but instead look for the things that they're doing right. I found that if I complimented my students way more than just getting mad and barking at them, they're gonna do so much better and they're gonna want to do school because they love your praise. Tip number 9 is to always follow through, and this is very important. Don't give more than 1 or 2 warnings. The more warnings that you give and not actual consequences, the more they're not going to take you seriously because they know that they can get away with stuff. They're not focusing. You say, if you don't start working right now, I'm going to add 10 minutes of work before your break. Maybe say that one more time and then do it. You're gonna say, okay, 10 minutes have been added. And even when they say, okay, I'll start working, don't take it back. Still add on those 10 minutes. And if they whine and cry and get mad at you, you have to follow through. You're not there to be their friend, you're there to be their parent or their teacher. They are looking to you for those rules. It's hard to believe, but students actually want rules from their parents or teachers. They thrive off of routine and expectations. That is what helps them grow and learn the best. My last tip, tip number 10, is wait time. Give your child a lot of wait time, and this is also ties into tip number 1, patience. If you are trying to help them with a question, you need to give them plenty of time to think of the answer. Silence is okay. It's a little bit weird when you're just kind of waiting for maybe even 2 or 3 full minutes in silence, waiting for them to answer. It's really good to let their brain just think things through because they need to arrive to that conclusion on their own. And they also shouldn't feel pressured to answer so quickly. In real life, when we're thinking of solutions to problems, sometimes we have to think it through for a while. And when we feel a lot of pressure to think of something very quickly, we get really stressed out, and that kind of takes away from our learning. So that is all of my tips, and I really hope that these will help you. I already know that you are doing an awesome job. I know that this was such an unexpected and scary journey to start on, especially people that are used to working and maybe didn't do great in school. It seems impossible to try to get your kid to love school and to learn better than you did. Your teacher will handle things. Just do the best you can. It's going to get easier every single day. You're gonna set up a routine. You're gonna get used to it. And then before you know it, we'll be back to normal life. We'll be back to your child actually going to school, and then maybe you'll look back on this time as something that you really enjoyed, and it could be a bonding thing with you and your child. So that is all for my video. I hope that this has helped you in any way. I would love to make more education-based videos in the future. If there are any questions or any videos that you would like me to do, please comment on this video. I'll take any suggestions. Teaching is definitely one of my passions, so I would love to make more videos about it. Be sure to hit the like button if this has helped you in any way, and to subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks so much for watching, and see you on the next video.